here we go, friends. Haunted Cities Volume 4. This is Exclusion Zone. After playing a bunch of games that have weird pixely effects and weird motion blur, this is like strangely normal. Like, look at this. I can move around normally. There's no fucking moments. Or at least minimal fucky moments. I guess we'll follow the lights. See what kind of strange things await. So like I said, the Haunted Cities Volume 2 had a game I loved. I think Volume 3 had the car driving game, which I thought was kind of neat. Volume 1 had that weird leech game with all the leeches and the bottles of blood you could use to lure them away. It was weird. The reason I heard about these games is because my favorite YouTuber, Jacob Geller, made a video about the Haunted Cities volumes. The video was titled Games About Pain, and it was a very cool video. And I didn't watch the whole thing because I was like, I want to play these games before I watch this video, kind of deconstructing them. And he's one of my, I would say he's my favorite YouTuber. He does really cool video essays about games and their various themes. Sometimes indie games. He did a really cool video about Roller Coaster Tycoon and like its symbolicness and like why we're drawn to games like that. Really fascinating shit. How many hydrates? Oh my god. Flash dance. Oh my god. Yeah, exactly. The great thing about the hydrates is that there is a cooldown. Because I learned the hard way, if you don't put a cooldown, people will make you do 50 hydrates in one sitting. And yeah, so there is a cooldown on the hydrate redemption. Dancing in the Rain from Umbrella, there you go. Need to know the answer to a question, says Kisa. Whoa. Local historic records and the architecture of the region confident that it is a religious structure of some kind. Its arrangement and composition are unlike any similar religious structures of the era or territory, despite superficial architectural similarities. Previous examination teams have failed to recover any furnishings, artifacts, devices, etc. that would expressly describe the henceforth temple's purpose. Local accounts, examinations of ambient radiation patterns, and simple visual observation of the surrounding countryside leave it beyond question that the temple was the epicenter of the devastation. We remain entirely ignorant as to how it was the disaster came to pass. This remains the chief objective of all examination teams dispatched to, name drop, the exclusion zone. Alright, let's keep looking. That was very weird. And a hydrate from Blackbird. I'm sorry, Shelly, I think I missed a question earlier. Oh, it was Ryan's question. Oh, I got you. So yes, Shelly and Ryan are saying, how can we make it happen? I don't think it's... Because, yeah, if I'm, like, pouring water on myself and it's all sexy, and, I mean, I do have a plain white t-shirt on right now, so a wet t-shirt contest would be very sexy right now. Although I will warn you, dear viewer, the contents of a wet t-shirt contest where I am the star would be disappointing, alright? My wet t-shirt contents, if you catch my drift, the contents of my wet t-shirt are not very exciting. I'm a bit flat, as they say. I'm a bit flat. I'm not particularly bountiful. So if you enjoy lots of jiggles, I will leave you wanting, alright? Get you to recreate the scene, yeah. So I will say this much. I don't currently have a wet t-shirt redemption. Currently, all hydrations go into my mouth and not onto my chesticles. But if it's for charity, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll figure something out. Ryan says, hey man, I will be the judge of your sexiness. Well, thank you, Ryan. That's very sweet. So we get another view of what this place used to look like. But I do it for charity dollars. Not tonight. Partly because this water is very cold. And it would make me very pointy. Very pointy and very erect. Swooping asymmetrical fins of the forward sheltered area have been something of a mystery. Their shape positioning perfectly enables them to gather moisture from the air. Speaking of moisture. which is then channeled into the shallow reflecting pools set into the floor in order that they may be kept filled with water. This artistic asymmetry is not present in any other part of the structure. Such a break in uniformity is in stark contrast to many of the fundamental religious tenets of the surrounding area. Seems an ornamental indulgence that makes no sense to us given what little we know about those who might have occupied this place. One examiner discovered deep channels between the stones at the bottom of the pools, which seemed to run downward some distance, but were too narrow and solid to be inspected further. Okay. Gathering and storing potable water, maybe even a cooling system for subterranean parts of the structure as yet undiscovered. Alright, gotta keep researching. Research we shall. It's a lot of white text. There's a lot of words. We're obviously exploring some abandoned structure. He says, hey man, you don't have to threaten me with a good time. A good time with Alex's erect nipples. You know, I was just talking to Gracie speaking of erect nipples, I was just talking to Gracie about Flight of the Conchords, and I was talking to her about how I loved the David Bowie song. Because in their David Bowie song, they talk about David Bowie's erect nipples being used to transmit data back to Earth. There's a view of what the inside of this church was. Central chamber beneath the tower. For communal prayer, administrative gathering. What was the purpose of this temple, though? We're not so sure. We're disinclined from making assumptions. One detail that we find to be most curious regarding the chamber is the fact that not a single one of the examination teams dispatched to the exclusion zone has ever recovered any kind of talisman or artifact from within. No scraps of cloth, no nothing. Other areas show signs of damage and dilapidation. The interior chamber is immaculate. Deliberately so, maybe. Scavengers are rarely so delicate in their work, which rules out the possibility of the chamber being simply picked over. Excuse me. Also curious is the fact that despite its location directly beneath the extremely radioactive tower, the inner chamber is consistently found to be one of the least irradiated areas of the complex. The stone from which the temple is constructed has no particular insulation, so it's a mystery. But no salvageable materials, so we're still uncertain. At 4 hours, we get a big nut. Big old nut. So we just, well, I mean, if we nut too hard, then we're gonna have to, you know, take a nap or something. So a 4-hour nut. 4-hour nut! No. There it is. There he goes. The 4-hour nut. We nutted for 4 hours straight. That's the opposite of No Nut November. This is non-stop nut November. We had, right, yeah, it's a very strange thing, that episode, but it's a fun one. So we can go that way. I want to go that way, but I also want to explore inside of here first. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Can I get... Oh, I can jump! There's a jump button! Oh my god, a game with a jump button. Can you imagine? The only Nut-vember you need. The one that lasts for 4 hours. Hear that noise? They were saying this is not tainted by radiation, but that Geiger counter seems to indicate otherwise. Do you guys say Geiger or Giger? It's probably Giger. Yeah, right in the middle is when it's popping. Yeah, right in the middle. Well, we just played a game earlier that was all about fun, happy radiation. That's pretty cool. All right, so anyway, let's go this way. You say Geiger, guy of the Fieri implementation, Mr. Ryan. For those that don't know, Ryan did a Guy Fieri Halloween costume for the Halloween party last weekend. It was a fun time. It's even more crickety and crackly over this way. So you see Geiger puzzle? Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, he's not around anymore for us to ask him. I like to think that Flavortown is a place in our minds. It's a state of mind and not a physical place. So I like to think we can always be in Flavortown. Extreme caution. You're approaching the main tower or the temple complex. Big radiation levels. Protracted proximity to tower heavily discouraged. Eventual fatality extremely likely. Obvious centerpiece of the temple. It's the nucleus of some kind of disaster. Continuing extremes of radiant radiation originating from the tower's apex prevents approach. Which means we can't do too much. It's been frustrating, for obvious reasons, exceedingly difficult to piece together the specifics of such a unique event using only secondary accounts. Must believe the answer to everything is waiting there at the tower's highest point. Looking into potential alternative means of inspection. Possible aerial passes, maybe. Long-range examination from afar. What is that word? Training and application of Eastern... Is that a word? Gyre vultures? Gyre vultures? Huh. So anyway, complete demolition of the tower at its base with hope of a resultant dispersal reduction of ambient radiation allowing for approach. Alright, well, anyway. This sounds like this is the place we need to go next. Oh, big cheer from Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. This game is weird. You are not wrong, it is quite weird. We have actually several things. Alright, I lied. I think I'm gonna explore the tower first. As there's a thing that way and a thing this way and also stuff down below. So I think I am gonna explore this first. Yeah, big radiation. Is it from this? It's crystal? The sneeze sound is a classic, Shelly. It absolutely is. Sometimes we get the rare ghost sneeze, and that's always fun too. So Examiner Saturna, who did pass. And this would have happened had her sisters not wronged her so. She would not have been so lonesome, or called out like she did. Kept her old worshippers, the ones who knew how to build her temples and channel her stones. The ones that came out from where she came from. She wouldn't have had to call it across the sea to a place she hadn't known. Our stones are not like her stones, and our air is not like her air. And that's what caused it. That's why it happened. She'll be vilified once her name is learned, but it was her sisters who broke her up and threw her down. How long she must have lain there under the sand, hurting and lonely and angry and not knowing what she did wrong. So much devastation just because she wanted to be loved and because they wanted to love her but didn't know how. I'm sorry, sister, you deserve better. This was not your fault. Can I climb this thing? No, I cannot. So... Some catastrophic event happened here. And there's a big tower and it's very radioactive and... Are we dead and we're exploring this in the afterlife? Are we some examiner? Like the engineer from the Black Iris? Hard to say. Let's go this way. I have a sprint button, by the way, so I can go real fast. Sprinting and jumping. What a concept. What is this gate? We had lights at one point. It's a party. The Overlook. We can at least partly explain what this is. Were it not for the exclusion wall, the Overlook would provide a grandiose view of the nearby lake. Which is nice. Built in proximity to an inland body of water at elevation and all feature blah 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 blah. We at least have some evidence to suggest that the temple was built with the specific purpose of performing whatever unique machinations precipitated the disaster. Making the construction something of a concession. The original purpose was not the practice of the local religion, and the overlook would be superfluous. Some of the temple's residents maintained that their beliefs maintained their old beliefs, and therefore necessitated the overlook's construction, which means the temple's purpose may not be entirely religious after all. Might have just been a prop or a visual misdirection and intended to convince locals from a distance that all atop the lakeside hill was normal, and nothing untoward was being conducted. Enter. So that means when you get to the end here, you can see a whole lot of nothing. Okay. Let's go back the other way then. There's the other path kind of down below. So I was saying how some of these games are kind of stark. You know, there's not like by design, there's not a lot of meat to them. This might be one such case, where by design, it's bleak and empty and sad and lonely, and that's, you know, the point. Maybe. Let's go back this way. Usually I like to follow the paths for games like this, but cutting corners a little bit is okay, I think. Some gates. And also some fences. Very radioactive out here. What it used to look like. Might have been a plot. Outdoor areas to cultivate crops and such. Makes sense. Crops for sustainment and also for trading with nearby settlements. But we don't know what was grown here. No sign of any plants indigenous to the area or any surrounding regions from which seeds may have been imported. Radiation of a kind entirely unique to the modest plot can still be found in the soil. The growth of some kind of radioactive plants maybe, with an extraordinary half-life, distinct from the radiation that filled the area in the wake of the disaster. So it's a different kind of radiation. No historical accounts of such a plant's existing. A small area of ground is of great interest to us. Examination teams want to explore it. Even if it doesn't have much info, we're still hella curious. Very cool. But yeah, so that explains the Geiger counter popping off, because it's a different kind of radiation, but it is radioactive no less. Let's go this way. These remind me of the arches you fly through in Star Fox. But I cannot do a barrel roll, sadly. Well, I don't know, maybe I can. I don't want to sound too defeatist. Ooh, pretty. Before it got all grayscale inside, it looks awesome. Cairn stones, I recognize that from Diablo. Cairn stones at the shoreline. Nearly everything about them seems at odds with the rest of the structure. Of a material that eludes identification. Their arrangement is, and their presence suggest a clandestine purpose. Paganistic, perhaps? Maybe even heretical when juxtaposed with the dominant religion of the time and territory. But it's too close to the temple to have been kept hidden. Glowing arches line the stones along the steps that lead to the shore, found to have been constructed after the temple. But the cairns themselves, hitherto impossible to date accurately, are presumed to have been there for much longer. So a deliberate acknowledgement of the cairns and the arches' construction. Found traces of a kind of energetic charge in the air around the cairns, not radioactive yet, with a similar half-life to radiation and distinct from both the fallout of the disaster and the radiation found in the soil, the plots we just saw earlier. Might have little to do directly with the catastrophe, but their purpose is still fascinating to us. We want to check the surrounding areas, but be cautioned against protracted proximity. Examiners who remained in the cairn's immediate presence for more than several minutes began experiencing symptoms similar to a combination of radiation poisoning and etheric plague. Aetheric plague. With at least one fatality. So don't stay around too long, you might die. To death. Examination complete. Is this the final area then? Assessment, no significant new findings. Return to exclusion wall. Bulkhead. Can I swim in the water forever? I probably shouldn't. Let's just get the fuck out of here then. We've seen all we can see. So we're an alive person, and we're dispatched for examination and exploration. Get some knowledge, collect some data, and then get the fuck out of here. Hey, what's up, Amnesia? Karen stones or Karen stones? To death, you say? When you said, like, you don't say, Shelly, I misread it. I thought you said, like, something you say. And I'm reminded of that one clip from Futurama where Professor Farnsworth is on the phone, and he's like, my God, he's dead. And he hears the voice in the line, and he goes, well, did he at least die peacefully? The other person in the line kind of talks, and he goes, to shreds, you say? Such a pity. That's what I think of. It's like, oh, well, did they die peacefully? To shreds? Oh, well, fuck that then. I think we came from this way? Seems like something we would have done. It's a good show. Highly recommended. To shreds, you say? Yes. Iron Lung? Amnesia, I really want to play that. It looks and sounds real good. As it was made by the same guy who made Dusk, and I think some people expected it to be a Dusk-like game. It's quite different than Dusk. So some people were disappointed by it, but I think it looks fucking cool as hell. I wish we could see what this all looked like before the catastrophe, when it was still pretty and illuminated and lighty. When it's all gray and sad, it's cool, but just kind of gray and sad is all. What's that? Dangerous levels of radiation? Oh boy. Begin quarantine procedures. Stand by for extraction. Now, are we getting extracted or are we getting deleted? Oh, the game just closed. Okay, I guess there's my answer. House is what came out. Gruesome cluster of verandas and spires. Earth rising like a tick. Bedrooms, drawing rooms. Let me take a bite of my food while this tasty sounding words are spilled forth. So there was a basement where something lived. A matriarch screeching rat queen cluster of veins and connective tissues. Gnashing mouths. It's her house. Should be more here. All right. So she was lonely, but there were no visitors. She had to make some visitors then. She need a husband, a man of the house. Bites my food. You know, a man around the house making sure doors were kept locked, someone to scrape his feet along the carpet, someone to sob gently into the silence. Typical things that husbands are known to do. Typical husband things. Concentrated real hard and snapped off a few pieces of herself to grow into little drones so that she could get to work. So wholesome. They're making a husband. Well, these plans for this place. Use hair from the bodies of the people who got sick whenever they came to explore the woods. Sticks together. Give her husband a handsome coif. Strong arms, long legs, long body, long head. All long. Held together with glue and ram. The drones could eat the rest. So she made a husband. Just how she wanted, milling through the halls, squeezing and click-clacking his twiggy hands. Dragging his feet and giving sweet little whimpering cries. It's nice to not be alone anymore. She wanted a full family though, not just a husband, but a family. Maybe a sister, someone to scream at her. Very nice. That always plans my arms hurt. I should probably be playing this game. I'm just eating. But maybe I should be like looking around because things are definitely happening. Cannot look up. All I can do is move about. Wish there was a way to like explore and not have the text overlaid on everything. Because I want to appreciate the text, but I also want to explore. Because it's very happy text and very pleasant, the story being told here. She's now building a sister in this story. She'll shriek and make my life worse, press her face against the windows and fill my rooms with jealous looks. This sounds great, doesn't it? There's a windmill. A husband to keep her company and a sister to keep her angry. I can't decide. I don't know what to do, it says. But she says, time to have some kids. My blood feels so dull and heavy. Gotta say, I don't know if I'm really loving this game. I think it's like trying to do a lot kind of all at once, and it's kind of overwhelming. Like, I want to explore, I want to read the text, I want to like look at things, but I can't do them separately. It's like it's kind of forcing us to do it all at once. So I don't know if I love it. And it's kind of gross, everything that's describing. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. It's a big tree. Like anything we explore, like that sign we saw earlier, it's like we couldn't really appreciate the sign because it was hard to read the words. But something is definitely happening, because the world has kind of changed since it first began. So yeah, now I've kind of lost, I'm like wanting to explore, but I've kind of lost track of the narrative. It's yeah, it's auto-scrolling, yeah. My veins miss the old poison, it says. I like the aesthetic. Like, I like the spooky forest kind of aesthetic. Like, I like part of this thing. I'm thinking I might mercy kill it. This is the second to last game in the collection. They can't all be zingers. Drag the spiders together. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely lost track of this one. I feel like I'm walking in circles too. I was thinking maybe we could find some interesting things. Yeah, should I just mercy kill it? Maybe I should. There's like something in the distance there, on the kind of right-hand side, like a house on the hill. But do I have the patience to get to it? Oh, there is a sprint. Is there a jump? There's not a jump, but there is a go fast button. And I like sprint to that thing on the hill. And just look past all the words. Used to burn. I used to burn once upon a time, it says. Whoa. You see, now it like kind of hurts the eyeballs a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can get to this place on the hill. Oh, it's walled off. Yeah, nah, I'm killing this one. It's done. I don't know. Wasn't really vibing to that one, honestly. It's a shame because I think there was interesting stuff there, but yeah, it was just too much all at once, honestly. Okay. So it's called Tenement, and we're about to find why it is called that. Maybe they just really like that one song by Queen, Tenement Fuster. This actually looks a little bit like one of the games in Volume 3 specifically. We can jump, we can sprint. There's a person. Okay. A lot of text, boy. Wow. Oh boy. Like, I appreciate your willingness to share, but wow. Another blob of text. At least we can, you know, stop it. It's like I can't read it fast enough. A little bit dark, but actually, yeah, I'm gonna raise the gamma a little bit because it's a little bit on the dark side. Color correction. As I like to say, a little bit of gamma goes a long way. There we go. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Show off my food, by the way. Yeah, part of why this part of the stream is going really slow is because I'm trying to scarf down a bunch of. Okay. The people from Skyrim. Oh, really? Are the people in Skyrim super talkative? Because that's actually one thing I'm kind of sad about in Oblivion. You talk to like a person in Oblivion, you can ask about rumors, and sometimes a DLC quest, like the Prophet and Anvil, and that's it. It's like, man, some people hardly want to talk at all. So if people are more talkative in Skyrim, that actually sounds nice. Because oh, look at that, you can actually see the skybox. The lines of the skybox. Like, I like Oblivion, but like, wow, there's like hardly any dialogue sometimes. Other times you get a bit more, but like random passersby have next to no personality sometimes. Yeah, it's time to info dump. They're info dumping all over us and not even helping us get clean afterwards. Can we go into these places? Oh, I got a little baby jump. Teensy jump. So they talk a lot in Skyrim. Yeah, I wonder if that was like a thing they were trying to correct from Oblivion, where like people were unhappy about the lack of dialogue. So maybe Skyrim they overdid it. So I see some lights in the distance that kind of catches my eye. It's a very empty and sad city with some denizens. This one's got a pretty dress, and it also has a whole bunch of words. But, like, I can't read all that. I can't read all of it. I need a TLDR. It's like the meme where people would be like, I'm not reading all that, but sorry that happened to you, or congratulations. I don't know. You have a bunch of words? You sure do. It's a bride over there. Wow. Just scroll again. Yeah, it's like the last two games seem like they're obsessed with throwing words at you that you have little control over. At least in this game, you can stop it and restart it, but like that previous game was just a bit much. An orange zone over here and a blue zone over there. Food is done, by the way. Food is done. Food is finished. Okay, we're all set. Food is done. Now I can kind of focus on proceeding. Looks like this is a movie theater. Skimming the text. That's what I've been doing. And it's it's all catered off. Yeah, I was trying to like just kind of skim some of the details. A lot of it is talking about like things happening to their bodies and like forgetting who they used to be and trauma of their past. It's like just a lot of like big changing of things. But yeah, it's like it's really not worth it. Well, I don't think at least really worth trying to, you know, track all of that just because it's too much. Oh fuck, we lost the timer. Shit. Well, I have no way of resetting the timer, so I'll just say we'll just have to kind of estimate then. Yeah, crap. Yeah, when I had to restart my computer, because everything exploded. Yeah, we lost what the time was at. Unfortunately, I like Live Split a lot, but to my knowledge, there's no way to manually change the time, so we'll just guesstimate it. Yeah, it's not. That's exactly it. Like the text feels like it's lots of inner monologues and soliloquies, kind of like stream of consciousness. Honestly, just kind of a big old blob of like not necessarily storytelling, just kind of conveying emotions more. 5 hours, 5 hours and 8 minutes. Yeah, we started at about 4 o'clock, kind of, sort of. So I'll probably go until about midnight, probably a little bit later. I was hoping the blue zone would lead to something, but the blue was nothing. Almost wish I could make that jump. Let's keep looking around. Yeah, that's where the blue thing was. There's a spot where a person should be. Ink blots and everything. Camaraderie amongst a hotel atmosphere. Interesting. Or maybe you mean maybe hostile atmosphere. Hostile. Just wondering if this goes somewhere because there. Oh, here we go. Here's something. Turn the mirror to the wall, it says. Is that an objective? Or just spooky words? Confused at the point of this game. I will say this much. There is a chance that this is one of those games, because it happened once in one of the previous Haunted Cities games in like volume 2 or 3, where there was no end to the game and it just kind of became like a sandbox after a certain point. Usually there is a specific ending to these games, but sometimes there isn't, which is, to me, kind of frustrating. Like, I recognize that there is something to be said from, like, a storytelling perspective where it's like an artistic statement of saying, like, oh, it's not a standard go from here to here to here kind of game. Like, oh, this is a unique experience or a unique artistic kind of approach with a new kind of storytelling. Like, if they're trying to do something unique and fresh, but it sometimes kind of comes off. Again, it's like it's trying too hard at that point, or maybe not trying hard enough. I don't know. I'm kind of, it's kind of hit or miss. So I think this is where we just came from. Was this the alley? Yeah, I keep ending up in circles. Let's see if I can whip around to the left-hand side. Journey, not a destination thing. Yeah, it might be. That might be it. Or you're thinking similar to the game Journey. That's an awfully high regard. I don't know if this game is quite to that point, but we found something over here. This is strangely well lit. We go in here? This seems pretty nice. Can I jump the wall? No. This is pretty pleasant. So we saw this from the other side, I think. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should mercy kill this one too. Would be a shame for the Haunted Cities thing to end on such a kind of a sputter, because again, there were some really cool things in 1, 2, and 3, but some of them were good, some of them were okay, and there were a few that I really didn't like. So if 4 is mostly a negative experience, then that's a shame. But yeah, it's like, well, at least we gave it the old college try, right? At least we tried it out and saw it through, but they can't all be winners. They can't all be wieners. Oh, that kind of journey, Ryan. Very good. Very good. I was actually hoping something would have activated when we found that TV with the static and the message. It all seemed very cool and ominous, but now that I've like kind of whipped around the whole area, get the sensation we've seen all that there was to see. Yeah. Well, like I said, they can't all be winners. That's okay. It's just like, man, we tried that one game and it killed the stream and kind of killed my computer temporarily. It's like we crashed the game and restarted the stream all for this. Like, really? Maybe, do these guys have anything new to say? Maybe. No, this was the first guy we talked to. So that's still the same. No. This is where we came from. Yeah, this is the intro area. Okay. Well, oh well. Mercy killing it. Yep, escape, yes. Yes, please. Let me escape from this place. Yeah, the Haunted Cities thing, that's okay.